Welcome everyone to Classy Tech. This is the Denon S760H receiver. You can pick it up from Costco for $450. I'm going to compare it to a higher end Denon X4700H. This receiver is 7.2 channels, or you can do 5 point up to 2 subs, then 0.2 for Atmos, which is what my setup is. So I have 5 surface level speakers, 2 Atmos or up high fronts. This is not going to be the most in-depth receiver review that goes through all of this kind of stuff. Like, I don't use AirPlay, I don't use Bluetooth music, so I'm not going to do that. I am going to compare it, like I said, to the 4700H through a variety of movie scenes to see if how much of a drop-off in volume or quality that there is. This receiver does have 3 HDMI 2.1 ins, only 1 HDMI 2.1 out, only 1 HDMI out period. No component inputs, which in 2021 isn't a big deal, but if you do have an older system or something to keep in mind. For $450, I think that's going to be a great option for a lot of people as an entry into a actual home theater setup instead of a soundbar. Especially if you can compare it with a decent, affordable speaker system. Again, you only need, like, for example, Costco has the Klipsch 5.0.2 system that I believe is $800 or $900, and it has 2 towers with upward firing speakers built into the towers, so you actually don't have to mount anything in the ceiling. I think that is a no-brainer companion to go with this. When it comes back in stock, I'll probably pick those up to test with it. So keep an eye out for that and subscribe if you want to see how those do with it. So I'm going to pop this box open, see what it looks like. Alright, you get your AM and FM antennas. Not something I actually use anymore. Quick start guide. I really like these cable labels. So you can label all of your speaker wires and your HDMI cables and everything. Alright, this is just a registration booklet. Something for Spotify and HEOS, again, stuff I'm not gonna use. Here's your Odyssey microphone so that you can run Odyssey. The buildable tripod for the Odyssey microphone. The Denon remote, which this is the 4700H remote, so there's some difference here, but not a whole lot. This is very similar, may even be the same remote as the older Denon that I have, the 2200, I believe. Couple of batteries. So this receiver is roughly 20 pounds, if that's going to matter for the entertainment shelf that you're going to store it on. Alright, so this actually has the power cable built in, which personally I'm a fan of. On my Denon 2200, it did not have a built-in power cable, and for whatever reason it was just loose all the time and would come out occasionally, was annoying. So some people may not like that. I do. You got your Wi-Fi antennae. You got your 3 HDMI 2.0B ports, is 1, 2, and 3. And then 4, 5, and 6 are HDMI 2.1, which do 4K 120 or 8K 60. And then the output is HDMI 2.1. The speaker ports are typically what you see, and they take banana plugs. You got 2 sub outs, 2 optical ends, a couple of composites, your antenna ports, Ethernet, pretty much what you would expect at this price point. On the front, there's just a USB. There's no HDMI in on the front. Your headphone jack, and then the mic port for the Odyssey mic. Quick select for the first 4 HDMI 2.0B HDMI ports, as well as 4 sound mode buttons. The smaller dial is your source select. Below that is the power button, and then the bigger dial is your volume. So for $450, it's what you would expect. And I'm going to see how it compares to the $2,000 4700H. And I'm going to run through some various movie scenes. And I don't have a real decibel meter, but so I'm just going to use my phone with an app that can chart a graph. And I'm going to play the same scenes from the same spot, end at the same spot, screenshot the graph, and then check the average and maximum decibel point that was read. The microphone on this camera will not capture any kind of bass or anything like that, so don't expect it to sound very good. Get testing here, and I'll come back at the end with some thoughts on this.
Ce l'hai?
Sì, è laggiù. Quando facciamo scoppiare lo stadio?
Stasera alle 6.
Ehi, che mi dici del volo?
Tutto prenotato.
Ho capito. Vabbè. E poi che cosa succede?
E poi io andrò dal re pallido.
Facciamo un brindisi, amico mio. Alla morte.
Alla morte.
Buongiorno. Sì, è laggiù. Quando facciamo scoppiare lo stadio?
Stasera alle 6.
Ehi, che mi dici del volo?
Tutto prenotato.
Ho capito. Vabbè. E poi che cosa succede?
E poi io andrò dal re pallido.
Facciamo un brindisi, amico mio. Alla morte.
Alla morte.
Buongiorno.
This is Sparta! Madness. This is Sparta!
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. Been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor. Buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment, don't care what comes after. You're full of dream, can't you see you getting closer? Just surrender, cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flooding open. It's a picture in the pulpit and your blind devotion. There's something breaking at the brick of every wall that's holding all that you know. So tell me, do you wanna go where it's covered in all the colored lights? Where the runaways are running the night. Impossible comes true, it's taking over you.
This is the greatest show.
We light it up, we won't come down.
The sun gets no closer now.
Watching it come true, it's taking over you.
This is the greatest show.
It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here right in front of you.
I understand. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Jeffries. Thank you. You'll have
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. Been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor. Buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment, don't care what comes after. You're full of dream, can't you see, getting closer to surrender, cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flooding open. It's a picture in the pulpit and your blind devotion. There's something breaking at the brick of every wall, it's holding on, you know. So tell me, do you want to go where it's covered in all the color lights, where the runaways are running the night? Impossible comes true, it's taking over you.
Oh, this is the greatest show.
We light it up, we won't come down.
The sun gets low now.
Watching it come true, it's taking over you. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's him right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here right in front of you.
I understand. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Jeffries. Thank you. You'll have the money by the end of the day.
One. Mark.
Detach!
Goodbye, Taj.
Goodbye, Dr. Brent. See you on the other side, Coop.
See you there, Slick. Okay, Case. Nice reckless flying.
Learn from the master.
Ranger 2, prepare to detach.
What? No! No! Cooper!
3.
Cooper, what are you doing?
Newton's third law. The catalytic's on the behind.
You told me we had enough resources for both of us.
We agreed, Amelia. 90%. Detach.
Okay. I'm nosing down. Approaching the event horizon. Port side, dipping down beneath it. We go through it.
Heading towards blackness. A visual even.
It's all black. Tars, do you read me? It's all blackness. Tars, do you read me? Over. Okay. Screens. Gaining interference. Losing control of the stick. Got flashes. Flashes of lightness, blackness. Turbulence in the gravity. It's increasing. Computer's going down. Gravitational pull, losing control of stick.
One. Mark.
Detach!
Goodbye, Taj.
Goodbye, Dr. Brent. See you on the other side, Coop.
See you there, Slick. Okay, Case. Nice reckless flying. command from the master. Ranger 2, prepare to detach.
What? No! No! Cooper!
3.
Cooper, what are you doing?
Newton's third law. You gotta leave something behind.
You told me we had enough resources for both of us.
Pretty agreed, Amelia. 90%. Detach.
Okay. I'm nosing down. Approaching the event horizon. Port side, dipping down beneath it. To go through it.
Heading towards blackness. I'm visually.
It's all black. Tars, do you read me? It's all blackness. Tars, do you read me? Over. Okay. Screens. Gaining interference. Losing control of the stick. Got flashes. Flashes of light and blackness. The turbulence and the gravity is increasing. Computer's going down. Gravitational pull, losing control of the stick.
monsters off her back! That's my head! Shore party! No armor has made it ashore. We got no DD tanks on the beach. Dog 1 is not open. Who's in command here? You are, sir! Sergeant Horvath! Sir! You recognize where we are? Where we're supposed to be, but no one else is. How about it's where they're supposed to be? Shore party! First wave, ineffective. We do not hold the beach. Say again. We do not hold the beach. We're all mixed up, sir. We got the leftovers from Fox Company, Able Company, and George Company. Shore party! Shore party! Get out, get out! Get... I'm in here, sir! See anybody else? Jackson! Shore party! No armor has made it ashore. We got no DD tanks on the beach. Dog 1 is not open. Who's in command here? You are, sir! Sergeant Horvath! You recognize where we are? Where we're supposed to be, but no one else is. How about it's where they're supposed to be? Shore party! First wave, ineffective. We do not hold the beach. Say again. We do not hold the beach. We're all mixed up, sir. We got the leftovers from Fox Company, Able Company, and George Company. Shore party! Shore party! Get out, get out! Get... I'm in here, sir! See anybody else? Jackson, but that's about it!
Now, lastly, we can test for 4K, 120, HDR, all that good stuff. So on Sea of Thieves on the Xbox, enable 120Hz is enabled. This is on the Sony A80J, so you do need to make sure that your eARC port is set to enhanced, which means you're not going to get Dolby Vision unless you switch it back and forth. And if I go to the Xbox settings, you can see 4K, 120Hz. Everything is checked except for Dolby Vision, and because it's the A80J, there's no variable refresh rate yet. And in order to get the receiver to do that, you have to hit the setup button on the receiver remote. And then you go to Video, 4K, 8K signal format, and set that to 8K enhanced. And then you'll get your HDMI 2.1 to be working. Okay, so the conclusion that I'm coming up with is that you don't pay more for the receiver unless you need the extra channels or the ability to have an amp hooked up to it to power the speakers more. There's essentially no change in the sound or volume that I'm getting on the cheaper S760H. Around 60 to 65 is about the max volume I was getting before it would start to have noticeable distortion. So I did my tests at 60 on the volume, whereas on the 4700H it was at 70. Just doesn't mean that it gets louder, it's just different points before the distortion was noticeable. They're completely different classes of AVRs. Both of them had Odyssey ran, all the speakers set to small with 80 Hz crossover points, and the sub set to the 50% dial range, whereas the 4700 set it to -3 dB The S760H set it to -8 dB, and it did seem to rely more on the sub a little bit in the loud areas to keep the volume up. And then in quieter, more whispering type areas or scenes, the 760H was just a hair less clear, but nothing to be worried about or nothing that you would notice unless you were doing back-to-back testing. So again, I would only say pay more for the receiver if you need the channels or a specific feature that it needs. But overall, the S760H seems to be an excellent deal at $450. And I think 5.0.2 or however many subs, so 5.1.2 setup is pretty much what would be good enough for most people, because the rear surrounds are very rarely used, and then rear height surrounds are even less used. So alright, I guess that's it for the Denon AVR-S760H review. I hope this helps some of you out. If you liked it, if you can press the like button, I'd appreciate it. Help more people to find the video. And I guess that's going to be it, so I will catch you in the next one. Have a good one.